Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to go inside the musical mind.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning back in to Inside the Musical Mind. This is Peter Harris here, as always, your host. This week we'll be talking about the new album from Black Swan, Shake the World. Black Swan is, of course, a supergroup formed by bassist producer Jeff Pilson, vocalist Robin McAuley, guitarist Reb Beach, and drummer Matt Starr. All these guys have, of course, lots of high-profile gigs in the past and pretty much legendary status through the decades. So the album came out on February 14th, and it is phenomenal. Well-produced, fantastic songs, a great classic rock record. If you've not heard it, it is out on the Frontiers label, and it's definitely worth checking out. It's a fantastic set of songs. We joined Robin McAuley here today, and we discussed the formation of the band, how the recording went for the album, his approach to everything, and the songwriting and the vocals, and just music in general. So let's take it away right now with Robin McAuley. Hey, Robin, thanks for joining us.
Peter, it's a pleasure. This is Robin from Black Swan.
No problem. It's so good to have you on. First of all, I want to start off with Black Swan. You guys have just created a phenomenal album. It's just such high quality. I mean, I was really impressed. With the members involved, I was expecting good things. But the songs, the production, everything's just really, you guys hit it out of the park.
Thank you. We're pretty happy with it, thanks to the world's greatest bass player, Mr. Jeff Pilson, and now the world's greatest producer, Mr. Jeff Pilson. So
I have interviewed Jeff in the past, and he is so underrated as just not only just a musician and engineer and just everything. I mean, he's just all over the board.
And he's on 10 all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
he's awesome. But thanks. It's a great record. We're really happy.
Oh, I'm in love with it. Now I'm going to go over some things that, some people may know, but some people may not know. So I just want to make sure everybody's, caught up in the process. I know it's almost impossible at times when you have a band like Black Swan, with Matt and Reb and Jeff. Everybody's involved in various other projects. Touring is basically impossible. Do you anticipate or hope to at least maybe pull off a couple one-off performances at any point in the future, or is there any kind of discussion?
The one-offs are kind of difficult, purely and simply because logistically we're all over the place. I mean, while Jeff and Matt and myself are here in LA, Reb's in Pittsburgh, but we have discussed it at great length, and Jeff's got a kind of a break. He'll be tapering off about the middle of September with his Foreigner schedule. Reb's pretty much pedal to the metal all the way through with Whitesnake and then into Winger. And Matt's doing what Matt's doing with Mr. Big and Ace Frehley. I have a Vegas show at 5 nights a week in addition to heading out to Japan, the UK, and the rest of Europe beginning March 6th. So it's a difficult one to pull off, not impossible, but it's going to take a little bit of planning. And Black Swan has said it's our intention to go live with this because it's we love it. So I guess scheduling will be key, Peter.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Now you've been with Raid the Rock Vault for so many years now.
Going into year number 7, yeah.
Yeah, and that's awesome. But was it kind of nice on a level to just get back to being just Robin McAuley?
Oh my God! When Shanker Fest came up, just that break to get back doing what you began doing is pretty awesome. I never thought for a second that I'd be a party to a great record with Black Swan. If you had told me 10 years ago I'd be making a record like this, I go, yeah, dude, have another drink, But it's great. I'm very happy. I'm in a good place. And working with Reb and Jeff and Matt is no pressure whatever. Somebody asked me earlier today, when was the last time I actually wrote a complete record, lyrically, melodically, etc. And I couldn't remember. So that's an excellent question, Peter. Yeah, it's very very refreshing, and to have such a great record with such great songs. So yeah, I'm a happy camper. Thanks.
And I was going to ask you
Thanks.
about that going into a group like this. Is there any conscious difference in approach for you mentally, where like your solo album, Business as Usual, in '99, I think,
Yeah. Oh dear.
versus approaching a full band project? Do you have to mentally go into that differently, where it's it's a it's a committee as opposed to all you?
No. No. We didn't really discuss it much. We just Jeff called and he goes, "Okay, Frontiers called, wants me to put a project together." I immediately called Reb because he'd worked with Reb on a Dokken record, albeit like 20 years ago. He told me, right? And Jeff and I go back to McAuley Shanker days. So Jeff was also my best man, believe it or not, 27 years ago this October. So we have, to say the least, a history together. Jeff called me and I said, "What are they looking for?" And he said, "Oh, the classic rock record." And they had approached me about 18 months prior to that. And, I wasn't in the right space for it. I didn't have the time. So we kind of put it on the back burner. When Jeff called, it was a different thing. Working together with Reb and knowing Reb's history and his songwriting and his guitar playing, and of course, knowing the Crazy Pilton, how could you go wrong? So we knew they wanted a classic rock record, and the rest we just went for it from there. In fact, the first piece of music that they sent me, Reb was at Jeff's studio, and I met up with the guys there, and I said, "Hey, so I've got an idea for a melody and a lyric for that first piece of music," and so I ran it down to them, and it was Big Disaster, and Reb started laughing, and he goes, "Oh, dude, this is the first project we've actually worked together on, and you come in here with a title called Big Disaster." How is that ever going to work? And I went, "Yeah, funny
Right.
guys, yeah." So it kind of set the tone. We didn't think about it. Uh, he was just shredding some great riffs. Jeff and him would sort of put a format to it, send me the music, and I'm on the move all the time in Vegas. I live in LA, and I just basically get it together and come to Jeff and I would start scheduling, seeing when he was off the road with Foreigner and when I'd be back home, and I'd come to him and I'd run down my ideas for the music, lyrically and what melodies I had. And, we would take it into the woodshed and do some pre production on it. And I went for the vocal immediately. So I'd come to him with an idea. We'd prep it, pre production it, and I'd go straight to the vocal mic, get it down, do a backup vocal, send it off to Reb, and get whatever changes he thought he wanted to make on it. And there you have it. We'd stick it in the bag and move on to the next thing without really too much pomp and sermon. Just we were enjoying where it was going, and at the end we ended up with a bunch of great tunes.
Yeah, definitely so. Now, do you have anything, a routine for your voice? Is it genetics? Like I'm telling you, I bought the first McAuley Shanker Group album in '87, and
Perfect timing.
perfect timing. And I bought it when it came out. And I'm telling you, if you had played me a track off this album back in 1987, I would have never guessed that that was recorded in 2020 or 2019.
Yeah. You know, I guess because I work 5 nights a week, it's you got to train yourself. You have to respect the fact that you have a responsibility if you want to perform 5 nights a week. There's a lot expected when you do a Vegas show, like any other show, and there's people buying a ticket to come and see a classic rock show, and they don't want to see something that's like less than 100%. And sure, everybody gets tired and fatigued and all that sort of stuff. But once that green light goes on, you you pour on the gas and off you go. And it's the responsibility that I have as one of the vocalists to make sure that I'm ready to go when that green light comes on. So
Sure, and that's professionalism, but there's got to be a technique and a vocal style to it too, because I hear some vocalists and I listen to them and go, that guy's not going to be doing that when he's 65. He's not.
Yeah. What can I tell you? Over the years, of course, I've developed my own technique that works for me. Um, I've learned a lot over the years of how to pace yourself, how to sing correctly, um, and to make it last for an entire show. The new Schenkerfest show is 2.5 hours long,
Yeah.
so you better be in good shape. I'm not out there all the time, but I'm out there a big portion of the time. If I'm not doing a lead vocal, I'm doing backup vocals. Pretty high backup vocals when you're talking about singing with Graham Bonnet. Yeah, I've trained it. I'm always conscious. I'm my own worst critic. I hate it when I get my psych. I can psych myself up to having a cold. So my wife tells me.
Mhm.
I can think of having a cold, and then whoops, there he's got a cold. We travel a lot, so airplanes. All of that sort of stuff is not kind. I hate air conditioning very bad. So when I'm not working, I'm out of there. I leave the scene very quickly, and then I'm already in tomorrow night's mindset. That's basically how I deal with it.
Makes sense. Now, when you first start working with a new guitar player, for instance, do you
Yeah.
have to take a second to sort of get into their groove, per se? Like a rhythm track by Shanker is going to be different from Red Beach. And when you first start writing with them, do you have to kind of go, okay, I need to feel this guy out for a minute and see how I'm going to compose a melody over his playing? Does that make sense?
Well, obviously, it's going to be different. I mean, people are saying, "Oh, well, I hear an element of this, of this, and this, and this." You're going to get that from where I come from, where Jeff comes from, where Red comes from. But there was this level of the unspoken respect level with us that everybody is very much aware that when it's the guy's turn to step up and start playing, he's not going to let you down because he's certainly got the chops. Yes, his playing is different, but it's pretty cool different,
Oh, yeah.
and he's got such a depth of melody. His technique is great. If anything, um, I think on this Black Swan record, he's a new Red Beach. He's a nasty, fired up Red Beach on this. I don't know if we've heard this side of Red Beach before, but you certainly hear him now. I mean, some of those solos, if not all of those solos, are just, dude, seriously, you know.
Yeah.
And when they played the stuff down to me, I mean, particularly when towards the end of recording, I think "Shake the World" was pretty much almost like the last track that I got to work on. And I'll make no bones about it. When that came at me, I was scared shitless, and I went, "Oh man, I could really blow it right here," you know. And I listened to it, and the more I listened to it, the more I just was smiling, and the title just came screaming at me. So it was that I heard a lot of the direction for the song, which of course you would, but lyrically too,
Hmm.
out of the chords that he was playing, I could hear it telling me what I had to do, and he's phenomenal, and what he did on this Black Swan record is, yeah, I'm not surprised. I think we are surprised overall at the great comments that we've had from so many people. Um, I'm not surprised what he delivered because he is that good. But I think he got even better on this one. He went, here's something extra. Here's Red Beats number whatever, and he nails it. He kills it. Absolutely kills it.
Now, out of curiosity, you've expressed in the past that like Motown was a big influence on you before you got into rock. Um, Growing up in Ireland, how accessible was that? I mean, was that on the
Oh, and
radio?
radio. I was all over the radio. I mean, plenty of radio, and you could buy the vinyls, and which I did. So it was always blasting in my house. I love melody. I love great lyrics, and where better place to go than the home of Motown because they're so memorable. All of those songs.
Oh yeah.
And pick any one of the bands, whether the Four Tops or all of. I mean, oh my God! And ironically. I have twin boys who just turned 21, actually on Valentine's Day, the same day release as Shake the World. And my son Jamie, um, every single morning, and I mean without exception. Every morning he goes out to college, comes downstairs, gets himself some breakfast, and he has a playlist as long as you want up on YouTube, and it's all Motown every single morning. It's amazing, and I'm going, oh my God. He goes, hey, you want to hear some real music, Dad? and and he sticks on a Motown playlist. And by contrast, my other son, Casey, who by the way sings about four backups on about four or five of the tracks on the record,
Oh, okay.
he's up there and he is slamming it, whether it's Sabaton or Night Wish, which I introduced him to, that I particularly like listening to, or whatever other flavor he picks up. And, screaming guitars, it's usually pretty loud, pretty heavy, and pretty fast. So um, uh, we get it all. We get it all in the McAuley household. So it's never quiet. Let me just tell you that. It's never quiet. Yeah.
But that's the key is to have them exposed to a breadth of music and not just metal.
Oh my God. Well, I'm Irish, so you're not going to escape good old traditional Irish music, at some point, especially after a few beers.
Right.
So you're gonna get that whether you want it or not, because there he goes. So yeah, it's and of course my wife is from Vienna in Austria,
Mhm.
and when these two boys were in the womb, they were treated to a substantial amount of Mozart and Beethoven and Bach, and they love it. In fact, my Motown boy will get into his car, and he's got quite the classical music playlist also, depending on his mood. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool because music is for listening, of course, but the more diverse you are, the more you broaden your spectrum, and there's just so much great music. You should listen to it all of it,
And of course
all of
now
it.
now they can actually do all that with playlists. When I was 21, I was still
Yes.
making
Oh, right,
mixtapes.
right.
Yeah.
I know, I know. It's amazing. I always get him. I say, whatever that playlist is, copy it, give it to me. Yeah, so it's great. He does it for me.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, by the way, I think we share a birthday, January 20th.
Yes, sir. Happy birthday,
Happy belated
belated.
birthday. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is awesome. I share that with Mark Roubaix, who's Survivor's drummer. So we used to have the same birthday, and at Tracy Guns, from LA Guns, same birthday.
I want to say,
And
is it Paul Stanley maybe?
Paul Stanley has the same birthday. George Burns used to have the same birthday.
That's right. I've
Well, he
forgotten
was
that.
right,
Yeah, I've
right.
forgotten that. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, happy birthday, dude.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, I'm older than you.
Yeah, it's not slowing down for either one of us, though, I'm afraid.
That's okay. That's okay. Takes a licking, but keeps on ticking,
That's
right?
right. That's right. Well, I want to make sure before I let you go that everybody knows, if they don't know by now, shame on them, but where to go to find Black Swan, Shake the World, the album, the website, social media, you yourself,
Yes.
etc.
Yes, you can. We have a Black Swan Facebook page. You can go on there. You can catch the links to YouTube for the single "Shake the World," followed by "Big Disaster," and released on Valentine's Day, together with the album. A beautiful ballad called "Make It There." All the links directly to Frontiers Music SRL are on there, where you can get your T-shirts. I just heard this morning they are printing up some more T-shirts because apparently we sold out everything from the site. There's a beautiful vinyl with all the artwork on it, and of course the CDs. So, yeah, Frontiers Music SRL, or through the Black Swan Facebook page, you can find all the goodies on there. And go to YouTube, tell us that you love us, and share, like it as many times as you feel that you want to blast out your speakers.
Absolutely. Well, Robin, I want to thank you so much for joining us. And once again, it is
Peter, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
my absolute pleasure. Been a longtime fan. It's great to talk to you.
Shake the world, my friend.
You got it. Shake the world.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye bye.
again. Bye bye.
Bye bye.